Hello, and welcome to what will be a fairly normal Dark Souls playthrough. I have not fully played through it all. I know snippets, I know very random specific pieces of information, but I don't know how to get through zones. So it's going to be... The actual bosses are not going to be new, but the exploration is something I've never actually experienced for most of the game. Because I've only gotten to about Anne Orlando, and I don't know how much, like, that feels like it's less than halfway through the game, especially if you include DLC. So I'm just gonna play through it like that. It'll be sort of, I think compared to Hollow Knight, it will be more open for... Okay. It will be more open to talking about other stuff because it's less the fights are less precise. Like, they're hard, but Hollow Knight I think needs more focus for most of its fights that are difficult. I imagine Manus without using the silver pendant will be hard, but... And I don't know how to parry. But anyway, I'm gonna play this as is. I'm not gonna pick the Master Key because I don't know enough about the game to really judge how much it breaks progression. I'm just gonna go with like Twin Humanities because it's useful but not that impactful. I'm gonna go with Dubious. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on character creation because it's, sure, not the most interesting facet to me, sure. I could customize, but I'm going to stick with this. Yeah, I've, like,
In the age of ancients,
somewhere between 4 and 6 years ago I played through it partially.
shrouded by fog.
But then I just didn't have time to finish the game because I was busy.
Land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons.
And like picking it back up is difficult when you don't know what you were doing last.
But then there was fire,
And the game
and with fire came disparity.
The game has a lot of hidden stuff that will be difficult to actually find properly.
Life and death,
Like the...
and of course, light and dark.
There's like the Great Hollow that's like behind an illusionary wall, behind an illusionary wall.
Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame.
Nito?
Nito, the first of the dead.
It's very...
The Witch of Isolith.
Oh.
And her daughters of chaos.
Yeah, no wonder I didn't recognize them, because the boss doesn't look like that.
Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights.
Yeah.
And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten.
The lore is pretty weird. The furtive pygmy,
With
Dark
the
Soul.
strength of lords, they challenge the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bullets peeled apart their stone scales. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath the Scaleless betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more.
It's a fun intro.
Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side.
That's that item that, I don't know if it's in this one or Dark Souls 3, that you use to return to the bonfire and lose all your souls. As in the bonfire, whatever the item was, whether it's in this game or a later game, is based on that aesthetic. Oh, it looks so weird. Because it's like the remastered version.
Yes, indeed.
But it's still the game from
the dark sign brands the
a long time
undead.
ago.
And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north.
Yeah, it is. Okay, I mean, even the remastered is 5 years old
Where
already.
they are locked away to await the end of the world.
PS3 game from 12 years ago.
Is your fate.
It's like, even the remastered is 5 years old. That's why it looks kind of terrible. Those feet, the non-separated toes. Character looks like they're made of stone. I don't understand this guy. He's the guy that you get the Estus from, right? Why is my character so blue? Like, their face is incredibly blue. I didn't make their face blue. Anyway. Oops, wrong button. I was thinking of a different game. Well, no, I was quite literally thinking of the attack button from Hollow Knight, which is X, as opposed to the bumpers. Yeah, so this will be intended to be a completed playthrough. You know, just a normal playthrough through all the DLC and everything. But that's a really pointless strong attack. But I don't know how to get everywhere, but I also am pretty sure it's not going to be that bad. Is it... Wait, this game doesn't have a jump in any form, does it? Oh, actually, no, is it? Oh, no, you have to double tap the sprint button. Like, you have to let go and then click it again to jump, instead of Dark Souls 3, which is you click the left stick, which is a lot easier to work with than... Oh god, it's so bad. It's a lot easier to work with than the sprint button. This is awkward compared to clicking the left stick, which I think is what it is. Which is even more awkward than Elden Ring. Yeah, like I've beaten... For reference, I've beaten Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring. Like, from a basic transferable skills, I think it'll be pretty straightforward in terms of fights. But I'm gonna try not to go for a strength-based build, because that is my default always. But I'm still gonna go for a melee build, which basically means Dex is the only real build I can go for. I know that you go to the left here. I just want to see if I can fight it. It's probably not even worth the time. Yeah, it's not worth the time. 2 damage from 1 or 2 hits? Not even worth the effort. yeah, like, I know very specific parts of the game. I know, you know, Patches betrays you. You want to say you're not a cleric, because if you say you're a cleric, you can't trade with him. I know that the guy that you can kill to get the Ring of Favor and Protection kills the Firekeeper. And I don't know. I think you can get it back fairly easily, but killing him beforehand isn't exactly that bad. You lose out on the lore that exists, but I'm also not gonna ever use a shield because it's not how I play these games. I know about a few weapons that exist, like I know that the lightning spear is pretty good in Sen's Fortress, but the only things that I know are those specific elements. I don't know how to get basically anywhere. I like Gaping Dragon, nightmare to locate. I know that this is a boulder. That it goes down and then does like a veer left right at the bottom, which is pretty silly.
Oh, thank goodness. I'm done for. I'll die soon. I wish to ask you and I,
They're both undead, sure.
regrettably, but perhaps there is an old set. Thou who art in thine exodus from the undead asylum,
Make a pilgrim.
now ringeth the bell of awakening. Well, now you know. Oh, and Estes. Oh,
And this.
now I would hate to.
And then if you leave and come back, he's hollow. Is it hollowed in this game? I believe they're hollowed in this game and not... That's not something from a later game. Like... Oh yeah, I have to come back down. And then this is a bait. Yeah. Classic. Though that one's preempting the classic one of illusory wall ahead or whatever the wording would be. I mean, there's very little point in exploring this place right now. Because it's not going to last long and I'm going to have to come back. Well, I don't have to come back, but... Like, yeah, I know that you can come back here by crouching like an egg near the... or in the nest on top of Firelink. Which is kind of interesting. It's super specific, which is odd. I also can't remember if this game has boss weapons or not. It does, but they're handled very differently than Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring, if I remember correctly. I haven't rolled once. Let's just make sure that I know how to roll. Because, you know, if you don't know how to roll, it's an issue. Why does this enemy exist? What is this tip? Parry. Ah. You know, can't parry with a club. I got the plunge. It's only 382 HP. Oh yeah, this game's stamina is a lot more limited than like Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring. Early at least. You can't spam nearly as much. Which I will need to keep in mind, but I didn't fully discuss it. My plan is basically, if I get stuck on a boss, it's going to be a lot of talking about who knows what. Like, whatever catches my fancy. Like, I could talk about... Oh, let's think of a topic that could be fun to talk about for a bit. Not even video game related. Actually, one fun fact that is very specific. Oh yeah, that's the, birds. One fun fact, you can asphalt, which is used to lay out, roads. The sampling process as a job, okay, when roads are being laid, the material needs to be tested to verify that it is the correct, like, ratio of asphalt to stones to dust and all that. That's all very specific. But after it's sampled,
Only
it gets put in a cardboard
in
box
the
most of the
ancient
time.
legends it is stated
And then that cardboard box is taken to a
that
laboratory.
one day an undead shall be chosen.
And then to test it, it needs to be heated up. So to heat up asphalt, there's two
To
options.
leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage
The obvious oven, like
to
a,
the land of the ancient lords.
like a materials testing oven, not like a home oven, though it would probably work in a home oven if it got up to temperature
Lordran.
enough. But put it in an oven or put it in a microwave, because you can microwave asphalt in 20 to 40 minutes and it will be soft and smell terrible. And it very rarely catches fire, actually. Like, the most interesting part is how infrequently it will catch fire. Now, it all depends on the microwave itself and the material sampled. Like, I think if there's occasionally bits of metal in the asphalt, then let's go with endurance first. No, I should go. I don't want to level vitality. I will have to eventually, but I don't want to. More stamina would be very nice. Let's just go dex for a bit, because I don't want to go strength, because that's what I default to always. But unless there's metal in the asphalt, the only thing that will cause the cardboard box around it to catch fire is if it's too close to the microwave production part. Like, if the box is right up against the panel where, like, the output is, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's where the output of the microwaves is. If it's against that, it will catch fire very quickly. But if it isn't,
Well, what
you're pretty much good.
fate of the but there's no salvation.
It's such a weird.
There are ones
There are
up
two Bells of
above
Awakening,
that
yeah.
Bring them both. Not much to so.
It's a very interesting,
But
fact that you don't really need to. The fact that you can put asphalt in a microwave and it doesn't automatically catch fire or some such is a lot of fun to me. Because, like, who would have thought that that would be fine? Certainly not me before having seen it happen. It's pretty neat. I'll talk to you. I'm not actually gonna
Hello there. I am.
listen to their dialogue mostly. I'm gonna skim it in my head, but
Hello. I realize, but I also here. No.
this guy has a.
Oh my. Oh, I have to. So what if I would that?
I think this
Very
guy's a covenant. Yeah, like, I'll join the covenant and then I'll ditch it as necessary. I don't know much about the covenant in the series, in this game
Now
specifically.
let me. Only there.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna be super lazy and get the Homeward Miracle, honestly, if I can,
Come again.
because
The
it's
effect.
easier to maintain than just having Homeward Bones. But yeah, it's interesting. The very specific things that, doing something, working in a specific context will let you learn that you would never have thought about. I don't think this is here yet. Do I have to unlock it somehow? No idea. I'm not going to risk falling down a pit just to try to get to some chests right away. I'll get the chests later. Yeah, so I don't actually know the best path from the very start. I think the safe choice is to go up the hill, up the stairs and jump across and stuff. Oh wait, no, you don't jump across up there, you jump across down below. Yeah. I will say my stance on this game is slightly skewed, because the most recent thing I've seen in any way relating to this game is like a random randomizer, which is not at all the same game, because, you know, if you run into... I hate this jump. This jump is so much worse than in Dark Souls 3, and obviously worse in Elden Ring. But randomizers, you'll have, you know, boss monsters in these sorts of areas. But now you have normal hollows, and you don't have to deal with Centipede Demon on a bridge or something. I don't actually know how Centipede Demon is fought. Oh, wow. A lot more lock-on than I was expecting. Yeah. But yeah, so like talking about that, I'm gonna try to think of random fun facts that could be interesting to talk about for a while, because the game doesn't require that much focus. Like, when I'm lost and I need to focus on exploration, sure, I'll need to focus, but poisoned. Fun. But from a general perspective, it's just sort of running around, and there's not a lot of stuff that needs to be read most of the time, so I think it's fun to talk about random information. But I would have to plan ahead. Like, I could talk about books, but the issue with talking about books is a lot of what I've been reading in the last couple years has been books that I would say are pretty definitely not high quality writing. It's all like simplistic stories that are just easy to read. Because, I mean, if it's easy to read, it's easy to read. And like my favorite book series is not a simple series, but it's hard to reread compared to simple books, because simple books don't have the same highs, but they also have very different low points, where the worst from a simple thing is it's just as mediocre as everything else you read in the series. So I didn't expect to be swung at 50 times because I haven't fought these guys. Yeah. An interesting enemy. I'm still back at here. Oh, I didn't do anything with my humanity that I wasted. Oh well. But yeah, like, books are difficult to talk about without a focus. Like having some sort of... What was that? The animation of the stagger mostly, as opposed to the stagger itself. That was a weird jump. Because it jumps the distance, but it hit the stairs, so it behaves oddly. But yeah, like, goofy jump. Yeah, like, books are difficult without something to bounce off of. Like, some degree of discussion. So, books are not a good topic, I think. Oop. And like... Oh, did this hit? Oh, backstep. I don't like backsteps. I need to go down this way. Yeah, like there's a lot of stuff I could talk about, but it all... Basically anything that I'd talk about would be like, oh, something that I can remember off the top of my head. But my memory is all over the place. Like, I could remember some random fact from when I was like 6. I can remember how in grade 2 or 3, some kid a year older stole a snow fort that me and my friend built, and then one of the recesses we were annoyed by that, so we started taking apart the snow fort piece by piece. It's such a nothing memory, but that is one of them that, you know, sticks in my head. And that's how most stuff is. It's like, I can't remember specific. I can remember random specific information, but only when it pops into my mind. It's like fun facts that I can think of. I mean, the one that always sticks with me is the pangolin is more closely related to carnivores like wolves and dogs than it is to anteaters, despite the way that it appears to be an anteater. Like, a pangolin looks like an anteater. It's often called a scaled anteater. It's not an anteater. It might eat ants, but the relationship is nowhere near as close as its appearance would suggest. Well, and on that note, opossums and possums are funny because the opossum, which is in North America, came first, and then possums, which are also like marsupials, because an opossum is a marsupial, but possums were named after opossums. They got the name possum, but in North America, opossums are often called possums, so it's the silliest animal name. Like, who names another species of animal that isn't actually related? I mean, they're both marsupials, but they aren't actually related to each other. So why would you name a different animal? Well, no, the why is obvious. They look similar. But possums were named after opossums because they look like opossums, but they just removed the O. Like, it's one of the sillier naming choices of an animal. Like, it's wild that that's what it's called. But, I mean, it makes sense because names are just names. Whatever people think they are, that's what they call them. I'm aware of, like, Balder Skip. Not gonna do it right away, at least, but yeah, like, it's a fun fact to me that it's completely meaningless that they have the same name, they're not related. And again, I keep indicating they are related in the sense that they are marsupials, but you know what else is a marsupial? A kangaroo. Oh, on the topic of kangaroos, there's an animal called a wallaroo, and you would assume, oh hey, wallaroo is like a wallaby and a kangaroo. It's the mid-size between a wallaby and a kangaroo, so that's why it's named that. But no. Like, I don't know the language, but in whichever language from the region, the word wallaroo is just a word. Like, it's not a portmanteau of wallaby and kangaroo. It's just the name, which is interesting. Because without searching this, and this is all according to Wikipedia, because, like, I'm not a Australian marsupial expert, but it's an interesting idea that a name could work out that way. Now, work out might not be the right word. There might be, they chose to translate it so that it sounded like that and whatever, but oh, so it is actually just one of these. I thought it was a more dangerous enemy. But yeah, wallaby, kangaroo, wallaroo, very silly.
Well, now, you seem to have... Then you are. I trade for...
I mean, like, nothing actually necessary. This is useful. These are probably useful, but I think I should probably get like a rapier or something. Because I'm going for dex, and I think rapiers scale with dex. Can I look at info? Dex is a C versus the club, which is all strength. But I would do less damage right now if I swapped. Because an A in strength with 11 strength is better than a C in Dex with 14 Dex. Oh, this... Why is a scimitar... Why is a scimitar a better Dex weapon than a rapier? How many souls do I have? I have plenty. Did I buy it? I must have, right? Did I?
Thank you kindly.
I'm pretty sure I did, but I might not have. I didn't. No, I did. It's gonna be worse for a bit, but
Oh, I hope you...
it will be better eventually. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
It's faster, I think. Yeah. That's that. I'm just trying to think of more fun facts. That's all I'm focusing on, probably more than I should. Why are those broken? Did these guys aggro? It's so much faster, wow. What is the strong attack? Oh, that's not very good. For AoE. Fun facts. Wait, can you not run up ladders in this game? Or, you know, sprint to go up them faster? Throwing knife and then make a jump. Yeah. I can't think of any fun facts, but I'll focus on the game, and if I think of anything fun, I'll talk about it for a bit. And that's what I plan to do. Just use this as a way to talk about random, interesting facts. That I think are interesting, at least. Ooh. Dangerous. Yeah, I'm gonna try to play this minimal vitality. Like, if I'm getting destroyed by, like, a hard boss, I will level vitality. But until then, I'm gonna stick with a heavy emphasis on not leveling vitality. I'm also never gonna learn to parry, but that's more of a I'm bad at parrying issue. Like Gwyn, I'm gonna try to fight without parrying. Because I'm bad at parrying. Which, I mean, eventually my goal is to play through, like, 1, 2... I played 3 recently, but I'll play it again. Like, 1, 2, 3, then either Elden Ring right away, or Sekiro. Which, Sekiro will require actually learning how to... Okay, that's the full loop. Sekiro will require learning how to parry. So, I'll learn then, but Sekiro doesn't interest me as much because it sort of loses out on variety, because you don't... I don't think there's anything else to explore this way. But if there is, then I can come back later.
I hope you...
But the... One of the appeals of these games is weapon variety. You can swap a weapon. They have different ways, methods of attack, all that. Whereas Sekiro, you just use a sword. Sure, there's the... You can throw firecrackers at people. You can throw... I don't know if you can throw daggers. That is one that I don't know a lot about. But there's a lot you can do. But it's not the variety that is interesting to me. So, it still seems like a really fun game, but... Oh, that's the, Dragon Bridge. The midway point of the Dragon Bridge. Ooh. I almost fell. I'm also not gonna even consider trying to get the Drake sword, because my understanding is that is like super good early, completely worthless later. And it makes the early game easy. Whoop. Oh, that was a big leap. This is certainly... This game certainly is supporting the idea of never locking on, because it does feel pretty bad in this game so far with how the enemies behave and position. I don't know. I think chain forward is bad. That might be Dark Souls 3 that chain forward is bad, but I think it's in this game as well, where chain forward means mimic. And chain backward means normal. I think Dark Souls 2 doesn't have an obvious tell, and their mimics are a lot harder. Dark Souls 2 is a weird game. Nope. It's a lot less friendly to the player in unfun ways, like the hidden bonfires behind unnoticeable, invisible walls. Lots of goofy stuff like that. But when the DLC area where you run through a snowstorm and get charged at by... Wow, that leap was pretty crazy, huh? I'm also regretting this weapon choice because it's a sweeping weapon. Oh, there's a guy right there. Nope, I can't switch it. I need a more vertical weapon for a bit. I think this was vertical. Yeah, so I'll need this for a little bit while I'm in this area. Oh, it still hit the wall. Didn't help much. It still hits harder for now, but... Oh, actually, two-handing the scimitar doesn't really help, does it? It has some strength scaling, but it doesn't have a ton. So, two-handing the club will be a lot better for a while. Because if I remember correctly, two-handing is basically it's a 1.5 times strength multiplier, effectively. So, if you have a strength weapon, you two-hand it, you do more damage. And that's also what allows you to equip weapons that are outside of your weight class. It's a fun mechanic. It's a good way to provide some differentiation between dex and strength, though I do think strength is just better a lot of the time for how I play, because getting a hit is a lot easier. Though Elden Ring has a different element where jump attacks make everything easy to get like one big hit, so you don't always need to chain a bunch of hits with dex weapons as long as they hit hard enough. So it's an interesting consideration. Oh, I thought they were about to swing again, and that would have been bad. Because they would have chain stunned me together. So this is a Black Knight. You can't crouch in this game, right? That's an Elden Ring edition. Which is worrying. Or is it no, it's a Dark Knight, right? If it's a Dark Knight, this shouldn't be, like, why would it be called Baldur's Skip? Is it even actually called Baldur's Skip, or is that just one specific guy that called it that? I'm also going to try to not... Yep, I hate it. Come on, come here to a better fighting location. Oh, that's dangerous. Fight me up here. Nice open area. Oh, That's not at all where I wanted to roll. Just backstab fishing, basically. Whoop. I thought it would be a charged attack, not a jump attack. I was too slow. That guy's finally catching up. Oh yeah, this is not Elden Ring, where you can actually heal quickly. This game heals incredibly slow. Oh, I think Dark Souls 3 also heals a lot quicker. Like this game, the Estus is very slow. And I need to get used to that. I need to come to terms with the slow Estus. Also, the stamina regen's very different. Just the way it regens. That's not all the direction I meant to roll. Because the regen doesn't seem to penalize you dropping below to 0 by a large amount. Whereas I think Dark Souls 3 Elden Ring, if you drop to 0, there's a bigger delay before you start regenerating stamina. Which is an interesting difference. I'm probably going to die to this guy a couple times because, oh, okay, what kind of lock-on was that? Lock on to the guy that I'm looking at, please. Actually, is there any reason to... How vertical is this? Probably about as vertical as the club. The club's still probably better against the Dark Knight, though. Oh, they're stuck. I should just do this. Wait till he throws one more. And then strong attack. Okay, this actually locked on to who I wanted it to. That's good. I'm actually kind of surprised. I want to get rid of them in case they start throwing stuff at me. Also, I should use the lightning... I don't know what it's called. The lightning paper. It's not paper in this game. Gold pine resin. It's almost time to stop for today, though. But I'll clear out stuff, and then after clearing it out, then it will be time to face the Black Knight. I could cheese the Black Knight probably there. Like, just try to get falling shots on him. Or drop attacks? I don't know what they're actually called. Plunging attacks, that's what the word is. I need to locate the other guy that's dangerous. I know this is a trap. I'm not sure if this was the guy that attacked me, but there was a chance. I'm going to excessively heal. Yeah, that heal takes so much longer. Okay, so, cliffhanger. Will I be able to beat this guy or not next time? Who knows? Probably, eventually. It'll probably take at least... I think I could do it in one try if I'm actually careful. So, that will be the end of this first episode of what will last a while, because I'm going to do Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, all of them, with the intention that maybe, by the time I finish Elden Ring, the DLC will release. I'm kind of doubtful, but who knows. So, have a nice day. Bye-bye.